Hello all, welcome to IndiaGSTR demo series. In this video, we'll be starting with the GSTR1 filing. The previous video, we gave a quick introduction of all the steps involved in IndiaGSTR filing. If you haven't looked into it, please check our earlier video. In this video, we are going to start with the feed invoice, that is the step 1. So here, this is a step where we provide the data for the filing. So before we enter the data, provide the data, let's look at the sample data we are going to feed. So this is the data we have, and say for example, these are the sales invoices. So we have 4 invoices for the month of December 2021, out of which 1 has the GST number. The rest of 3 does not have the GST number. That means 1 is a GST registered user and others invoices are for non-registered users. So for all registered users, you have to provide the GST number. For non-registered users, you have to provide the state code. Okay. And next is the description. And next is the Hsn Sse code. So you might be already know the Hsn Sse code is a way to categorize a product. Okay, so the government of India has come up with the category code list which needs to be fit into each product. So based on that, they will be able to track the products which are delivered from your side. And the next is quantity. So how much quantity? And next is unit. That is, the unit is also a GST. Government of India has provided the list of units, so you have to choose from those lists. We will look into it in this video, how to choose all these videos. And next is the taxable price. So the taxable price is the price without tax. That means the price on which the tax needs to be applied. Okay, so actually that is a core product price, the core product price, and then the tax rate. So even the tax rate is a predefined set of list of tax rates government has provided. You have to choose from those. And then the IGST, CGST, and SGST. I'm not going to get into that, but hope you are already aware of it. The next is the total, that is total line item value, that is the taxable price plus tax rate. And next is the invoice value. The invoice value means the value of the invoice. Say for example, in this invoice, if you look at the third invoice, you have 2 line items here. So here the invoice value is the sum of these 2 values. Okay, so these are the data we have. Now we will see how we can feed this data into IndiaGSTR. Now let's go to the IndiaGSTR. So first thing is we have to choose the return period. So first thing you have to choose the month and then the year. So I have December 2021, and there are 2 options. There are 2 ways you can feed the data. One is you can upload through Excel, and other is manual entry. You can key in the data. So in this video, we are going to key in the video. So choose the manual entry and then keep your data ready and then start entering. So the first column is the invoice number. Second column is the invoice date. So you can choose the invoice date here. It is 5/12. Click on 5/12 and then the GSTR number. Just click on it and paste it. So now whenever you see that, whenever the system finds that the space is not sufficient, it will auto adjust. So if you look at, it will auto adjust. Okay. And next is the delivery state. So if you want, you can enter the state or you can ignore it. And next is the description. Same with this. So whenever there is no space, it will adjust so that it is easily readable. And the next is the Hsn code. The Hsn code is a mandatory for all the line items. So if you don't know it, you have to search. You can search and find it here. So there is a search icon here. Just click on it. In our case, we don't know the Hsn code, so we will find it out. Click on the search icon. A pop-up opens up. And here there are two options. One is goods and other is services. So if you're going to search for a goods product, choose goods. That is by default. If you want to search for a services, you have to search services. In our case, this is a software license, so it is services. You click on the services and type the keywords. Say for example, this is a software, so you type the keyword first, software, and then space or enter. You can add multiple keywords. So here you can see that there are two Hsn Sse code available for softwares. These codes are provided by the government of India. If you want, if you come across a scenario where there are many things and you know multiple keywords, say for example, it's a database related software, so you can type database as well or data, and then type space or enter. So based on those matching category, it will get you the right Hsn code. So this seems most appropriate for our case. So you just click on this radio button and this Hsn Sse will be code will get selected. Okay, so now you can see that this Hsn is selected. And next is the unit. So for service product, you don't need to provide unit or quantity because it is a service. So you can leave it empty. The next is the taxable price. It is here in this case 1800. And next is, so these are the predefined tax rate provided by the government of India. So here in our case for this product, it is 18%. And here the IGST is 324. So you can leave the CGST, SGST empty and IGST 324. Cess is not applicable. So, and then finally, it is not the total value, it is the invoice price. That is for the invoice, what is the price? Now let's go to the next record. So now say assume that you enter something and you don't want this line items. What you can do is you can delete it by clicking on this delete icon. Okay. So now click on the second thing. Let's enter the second data, 1002. So you can enter any data. Okay, so any length, BES, something like that, 2021, something like that. It will auto adjust. Okay, the width will auto adjust, so don't have to worry about the width. Next is on 1012. Okay, 1012. So now the next thing is that we don't have the customer GST. So in that case, we leave this empty. And whenever there is no GST, then in that case, you have to choose the state. Here it is Tamil Nadu. Choose Tamil Nadu. And then the invoice description. So the moment you put the description, it will auto extend. And then the taxable price. Here again, it is a service. So that is the same Hsn code. So I am just copying from the previous Hsn code and putting it here. And there is no unit quantity for service. You can enter the taxable price. Again, it is 18%. Now it is, since it is for a same state, it is CGST, SGST. And here the invoice value is 1180. Now go to the next thing, 1003. So in this case, that is again, it is a non-registered GST user, GST customer. So we have to choose the state. Here it is Maharashtra. So let's go to Maharashtra. Yeah, choose the Maharashtra. and then enter the description, and then enter the price. Again, the same Hsn Sse code, so we'll come there later. So again, this is a software, so we'll use the same Hsn Sse code. And here it is IGST. Now we can see that this is total value, but we need to provide the invoice value, that is 1170 here. And now we can see that for this product, there are two items. So here, what we have to do is, in this case, we have to click on this add button. So if you look at the item under, along with the item description, there is an add button. So on clicking of that add button, this invoice number, the date, customer, delivery state, and the invoice value will become common. And you can add the line items. The same way you can add multiple line items. Okay. So if you don't want, you can click on the close button. It will go away. So now you have entered this. We can also, the draggable is also there. So you can drag the column length such the way that it is readable. Now that you have added a line item. Now let's enter the new line item, the second line item. And this is the same Hsn Sse code. So now we know the Hsn Sse code and we need to validate it, whether this is the right one or not. You can again go to the same thing, enter it. That is nothing because we have chosen goods, but it is services. So click on services and you will see that for this Hsn code, this is the description. So this is the right one. Choose it, come back here. And here we enter the taxable price and the tax rate and the IGST. And we can ignore this total value because this total value is a sum of these two values. So we don't have to provide this column. We only have to provide the invoice value. The next is the next invoice, the final invoice. In this case, I have added a goods item just for the demonstration purpose. So this is shipping to Puducherry. Okay. So let's put this as well here. Okay, let's do the same GST in here. Okay. And here desktop resale. Okay, here this is a goods. Okay, so we need to know the goods HSN. Okay, so if you choose goods and then this is a computer item, so you can put computer is a keyword, space will start the search, and then keyboard is my another keyword. So I have given two keywords here, computer and keyboard, and now you get a matching item. So here you can see that. So once if you remove the keyboard, you can see that there are many computer items. So you can pick from any of these things. So it will be very difficult. So if you know any other keyword which you think is the right one, you can just enter that and enter or space. Oh, it is not keyword, it is keyboard. Okay, so now we can see that this Hsn code is for consisting at least a central processing unit, a keyboard, and a display personal computer. So this looks most appropriate one. Click on it, click on this radio button and will get selected. So now you can see that this is selected. And since this is goods, you need to provide the units. So here the units is numbers. So this is the default set of units which the government of India has provided. You have to choose any within these units. So this units and quantity is 1, and the tax price. And finally the taxable value. So now we have entered all those details. You can, if you want, you can validate here itself. Okay, so now we have entered all the details. What the next step is for going for preview. So now we are in the step 1. We have chosen the return period and we have provided the feed data. Now on clicking of preview will take you to the preview page. So this data will be reorganized to the GST structure. Yeah. So now the data has been reorganized to classified into these 4 components. The first one, let's look into it one by one. The first is the return period. Validate the return period. So December 22, 2021, 2021. Is this the right return period? Yes. Then check the B2B. Okay. So if you look at the B2B, for this B2B, there are 2 invoices you are supplying, 1001 and 1004. Okay. And on these dates, and this for these 2 states, by default, it will take the GSTN state. Okay. If you want to override, you can choose different state. And then the taxable price of these items. So the taxable price is this one, and then this one. Okay. And the tax rate, what is the tax rate? And then what is the IGST for this one? Okay. So basically these 2 things, yeah, this is for Puducherry, so it is IGST. We have 324 and 1800. And finally the invoice value, these 2 values. Okay, so this looks perfect. And then next is the B2CL. So whenever an invoice value is more than 2.5 lakhs, it will be classified as a B2CL. And only if it is a non-GST registered customer and of a different state. So if it is a non-registered customer for an invoice value greater than 2.5 lakhs and belongs to a different state, then it will come under B2CL. Otherwise, it is B2CS, that is business to small customers. So here, if you look at here, we have this invoice number, invoice date, all this thing. But in B2CS, we have only the line item details. We will not have the date, invoice number, all this thing. So we here we will be classifying it like for this date, for this invoice has been sent, and the tax rate is this, tax this. So if you look at this, the rest, the 3 items are there. So here, even though this is a 2 invoice, here it is classified at the state level, not at the invoice level. So for each state, for the what are the items sent for different states, that along we will capture here in the B2C. So for Tamil Nadu, these items, for Maharashtra, these 2 items. So if you look at these 2 items will go into the Maharashtra, and you can review the taxable price. What is the taxable price? Is it matching? 500,000, and this one 1000 tax rate. And then look at the CGST, SGST 9090, and this one 9180, and it says. And if you look at this invoice value, it will not come here. For B2CS, we don't need the invoice value for GST. So GST system does not expect the invoice value in case of BCS. Only for B2B we need to provide, and B2CL we need to provide. So all this, we will get the data and we will put it in the way the GST wants. And the next is finally Hsn Sse Mapping. So this is only for the goods, Hsn only actually. So if there, in this case, this is the only item which is goods. The rest are all services. So this Hsn code, how much is delivered, will be separately captured. Okay. So if you look at here, we have this Hsn and this unit and this quantity at this taxable price and this IGST. So for this, there is only IGST. So we'll put only IGST. The same way, if there are multiple goods, means it will all list down here. And we will finally, if you're fine with this review. So now once you have reviewed all this thing, when you do upload to GST, it will take all the data from here and put it into the GST system. Okay. So we have in the B2B, we have 1 item that is for 1 customer. And for B2CS, we have 3 items. And for Hsn, there is 1 item. So this is what it indicates here. And for B2CL, there is nothing. Okay, so now we have covered the feed invoices and the preview invoices for manual entry. Before we go to upload GST, let's go back again. So in this case, there are certain validation also is in place. Say, for example, you don't provide a state here. Okay, no provide state, or you don't provide Hsn Sse, and if that taxable value is of a incorrect structure, is an incorrect invalid format. So it's a 3 decimal format. Okay. And you didn't provide a date. Now let's click on the preview and you will see the errors here. Okay. So all these errors will say for this invoice number, delivery state is missing. For this invoice number, Hsn is invalid. And this invoice, the price is invalid. And for this invoice, date is missing. And this for invoice, this the price is invalid. And at the same time, it will highlight you the positions which has issues. Okay, and you can fix it. Tamil Nadu. $25. Hsn 500. 1800. Okay, so once you fix all this thing, and here if you look at, right, so say for example, if you didn't enter the quantity, it will show an error. So if it is a goods item, means the numbers, units and quantities are required. For service, this is not required. Okay, so here what in this validation, one more thing is we will validate the structure alone. So we will not validate whether the value you entered is correct or not. We will only validate the structure. That means you cannot enter an invalid GSTN. Okay, so we validate a structure and we validate the format, but whether you are entering the right amount, whether this invoice price is right, all these things we will not check. Okay, so this is up to the user to ensure that you enter the right value. And this tool purpose is to file the data you provided. We will not check for any data correction, but there are certain validation we have which will ensure that the format is right. Okay, so now we are in the preview stage, and that's all we had for this demo. We will meet in the next video. Thank you.